Hello and welcome. This week we're diving headfirst into the economic mosh pit that is the United States of America. We're talking about a country that's like the love child of a bald eagle and a monster truck rally. Loud, proud, and fueled by a truly alarming amount of corn syrup. Now before you even think about reaching for that unsubscribe button, just hear me out. Because whether you love it, hate it, or just find it vaguely terrifying, there's no denying that the USA has its greasy fingerprints all over the global economy. It's like that one friend who shows up to a party, eats all the snacks, and somehow still manages to be the life of the party. You might find them annoying, but you can't ignore them. And throughout this video, we're going to be relying heavily on some stunning visuals to really bring this economic roller coaster to life. So make sure you stick around for some truly breathtaking shots of, well, probably a lot of strip malls and fast food chains. But hey, that's America for you. So if you're ready to embark on this wild ride through the heart of American capitalism, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment below letting me know your burning questions about the good old US of A. Because trust me, this is one story you won't want to miss. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the bald eagle in the room. The USA is big, like really big. We're not just talking geographically, although it is pretty darn massive on that front too. No, we're talking about its impact on the world stage. Think of it this way, the USA is like that one friend who always has to be the center of attention. They walk into a room and suddenly everyone's staring, for better or worse. Sometimes it's for their dazzling smile, other times it's because they accidentally set their pants on fire. But love them or hate them, you can't deny their presence. And that's the USA in a nutshell. From its political muscle to its questionable reality TV shows, this country has a knack for making itself known. But let's not get bogged down by the cultural quirks just yet. We're here to talk about the economy, and boy oh boy, is there a lot to unpack. It's like someone took a bunch of industries, threw them in a blender with a fistful of dollars and hit the liquefy button. You've got your Silicon Valley tech giants, your Wall Street finance bros, your Hollywood A-listers, and let's not forget the vast, sprawling landscape of heartland agriculture. It's a melting pot of economic activity, and sometimes it smells faintly of desperation and deep-fried Oreos. Okay, let's break down some of the big players in this economic circus, shall we? Because when it comes to the US economy, some names carry a lot of weight. We're talking about the kind of companies that could buy and sell small countries if they felt like it. And probably have, let's be honest. First up, we've got the tech giants, you know, the ones Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon. These companies are like the popular kids in the school cafeteria, except instead of lunch money, they're hoarding data and market share. They're everywhere, they're inescapable, and they probably know what you had for breakfast this morning. But hey, at least they give us shiny gadgets and next-day delivery, right? So, maybe we can forgive them for slowly eroding our privacy and potentially ushering in a dystopian future ruled by algorithms. Just kidding. Unless. And then there's Hollywood, the glitzy, glamorous heart of the entertainment industry. It's a place where dreams are made, stars are born, and writers are woefully underpaid. From blockbuster movies to binge-worthy TV shows, Hollywood churns out content like a well-oiled CGI-enhanced machine. But let's not forget about the less glamorous but equally important sectors of the US economy. We're talking about energy and agriculture, the backbone of this economic powerhouse. Now when it comes to energy, the USA is like that friend who brings a six-pack to a party and then drinks it all themselves. It's got vast reserves of oil and natural gas, making it one of the world's leading producers and consumers. And then there's agriculture. Forget Silicon Valley, the real heartland of America is covered in fields of corn, wheat, and soybeans. The USA is an agricultural powerhouse, producing enough food to feed itself and a good chunk of the rest of the world. Of course, this abundance comes with its own set of challenges like environmental concerns and the exploitation of farm workers. But hey, at least we've got plenty of corn to turn into ethanol and high fructose corn syrup, right? Alright, let's talk about America's economic heavy hitters. And no, I'm not talking about those reality TV entrepreneurs who sell overpriced protein powder and vaguely motivational slogans. I'm talking about sectors that actually matter. First up, we've got the tech giants. Those behemoths of Silicon Valley who've wormed their way into every aspect of our lives. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, these companies are practically holding our data hostage while simultaneously selling us things we didn't know we needed. It's a terrifying yet deeply convenient relationship. And then there's the entertainment industry, with Hollywood as its glitzy, Botox-filled epicenter. From superhero movies that make billions to reality shows about people who eat bugs, America's entertainment machine churns out content that captivates, terrifies, and occasionally makes you question the very fabric of reality. Don't forget about the old reliables, energy and agriculture. America practically swims in oil and natural gas, and let's be honest, they're not afraid to use it. And when it comes to agribusiness, well, let's just say the rest of the world relies on American farmers to provide more than just corn subsidies. Now, you can't talk about America's economy without mentioning those bastions of ingenuity, those hotbeds of disruption. Yes, I'm talking about startups. These plucky little companies, fueled by caffeine and venture capital, are constantly trying to convince us that we need an app that can fold our laundry or summon a personal masseuse with the tap of a button. And sometimes, just sometimes, these startups actually change the world. Take Tesla, for example. Elon Musk, with his questionable tweets and even more questionable haircuts, has somehow managed to make electric cars sexy. Who saw that coming? Then there's SpaceX, which is basically trying to turn humanity into a multi-planetary species because, just existing on Earth isn't exciting enough. It's ambitious, it's audacious, and it might just save our collective asses one day if we manage to completely ruin this planet. Of course, not every startup is going to be the next Tesla or SpaceX. Most of them will probably end up as cautionary tales whispered in hushed tones at Silicon Valley cocktail parties, but that's the beauty of the American startup ecosystem. It's a high-risk, high-reward game, and sometimes, just sometimes, it pays off in spectacular fashion. Ah, Silicon Valley, that mythical land where hoodies are considered formal wear and failure, is just a learning opportunity. It's a place where billion-dollar valuations are thrown around like confetti, and everyone seems to have a revolutionary idea for an app that will, and I quote, change the world. This is the land of venture capitalists, those deep-pocketed risk-takers who are essentially the gatekeepers of the tech world. They're the ones who decide which startups get funded, which ideas see the light of day, and which founders get to buy their own private islands. But let's not kid ourselves, Silicon Valley is not all sunshine and rainbows. For every unicorn startup that makes it big, there are countless others that crash and burn, leaving behind a trail of broken dreams and shattered keyboards. But hey, let's focus on the positive, shall we? Because amidst all the hype and hubris, Silicon Valley does manage to produce some genuinely groundbreaking innovations. We're talking about advancements in artificial intelligence self-driving cars that can practically parallel park themselves and robots that can probably make a better cup of coffee than your local barista. And let's not forget about the relentless pursuit of convenience. Silicon Valley is obsessed with making our lives easier whether we want it or not. Need groceries delivered to your doorstep in under an hour? There's an app for that. Want to control your thermostat with your voice? There's an app for that too. Of course, this constant quest for innovation can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming. It's like being bombarded with a fire hose of new gadgets and gizmos, each one promising to be more revolutionary than the last. But hey, at least it's never boring. And who knows, maybe one day Silicon Valley will finally invent that laundry-folding robot we've all been waiting for. Until then, we'll just have to settle for self-driving cars and robot baristas. Now, it's all well and good to marvel at America's economic might, but let's not forget that this prosperity comes at a price. And unfortunately, that price is often paid by those who can least afford it. We're talking about income inequality, folks, that ever-widening gap between the haves and the have-nots. While CEOs are jetting off to their private islands and Silicon Valley billionaires are launching themselves into space, millions of Americans are struggling to make ends meet. It's a tale of two Americas, really. On one hand, you have the glittering skyscrapers and opulent mansions of the wealthy elite. And on the other hand, you have struggling families working multiple jobs just to put food on the table. And then there's the national debt, that ticking time bomb that seems to loom over every economic discussion. As of 2023, the U.S. national debt has surpassed a mind-boggling $33 trillion. That's trillion with a T. It's a number so large, so unfathomable, that it's hard to even wrap your head around it. To put it into perspective, If you were to spend $1 million every day, it would take you over 90,000 years to spend $33 trillion. Now, some people will tell you that the national debt is not a big deal, that it's just a number on a spreadsheet. But those people are either delusional or they stand to benefit from the current system. The truth is, the national debt has real-world consequences. It can lead to higher interest rates, inflation, and slower economic growth. And eventually, if it's not addressed, it could lead to a full-blown economic crisis. Alright, so you want to understand how the US government works? Buckle up, because it's about as straightforward as assembling IKEA furniture blindfolded after you've had 6 espressos. It's a system designed by people who were deeply suspicious of centralized power. At the heart of it all is the Constitution, a document so revered it might as well be dipped in gold and kept under bulletproof glass. It divides the government into 3 branches: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. Think of them as rock, paper, scissors, except they all have the potential to throw a wrench into the works. The executive branch, led by the president, is responsible for enforcing the laws. The legislative branch, made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives, is in charge of making the laws. The U.S. is a federation, made up of 50 individual states, each with its own government and laws. Each state has its own governor, legislature, and court system with a surprising amount of autonomy. And let's not forget the political polarization. The 2 major political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, have very different visions for the country. The United States, global superpower, defender of freedom, land of the free, home of the, well, you know the rest. But when it comes to international relations, America's like that friend who throws a great party, but also has a tendency to start arguments with the neighbors. They've got their fingers in more pies than a baker with a gambling problem, involved in everything from international trade deals to military interventions. They're a founding member of the United Nations, NATO, and more acronyms than you can shake a stick at. Basically, if the world were a high school cafeteria, the US would be sitting at the popular kids' table, albeit with a tray full of unfinished business and a side of geopolitical tension. They've got strategic alliances with countries like the UK, Japan, and Israel. Think of them as the study group that occasionally gets together for a game night. But then there are the geopolitical rivals like China, Russia, and Iran. The kids sitting at the other table, giving them the side eye and occasionally trying to trip them in the hallway. It's a delicate balancing act, and one that the US hasn't always handled with the grace and finesse of a ballerina on roller skates. There have been missteps, blunders, and outright disasters that have left many questioning America's role in the world. But love them or hate them, there's no denying that the US has a profound impact on global affairs. Now, when we talk about America's global influence, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, or more accurately, the aircraft carrier in the harbor. The US boasts the largest defense budget in the world, spending more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. It's like they're playing a game of Risk, but they keep buying up all the armies just in case. This military might have given the US a significant presence on the world stage. They've got military bases in more countries than most people have visited, and they're not afraid to use them. But while the US has a reputation for flexing its military muscle, its influence extends far beyond just bombs and bullets. They're major players in global issues like climate change, cybersecurity, and international trade. They wield considerable economic power, and their cultural influence is undeniable. American music, movies, and television shows are consumed worldwide, for better or worse. So while the US might be known for its military might, it's important to remember that their influence is multifaceted. They're a complex and often contradictory force in the world, capable of both great good and great harm. And as the world grapples with increasingly complex challenges, the US will undoubtedly continue to play a significant, albeit often messy, role. The United States. A melting pot of cultures, a beacon of democracy, a nation increasingly divided. You see, while the US may present a united front to the world, internally it's engaged in a perpetual tug-of-war. It's like a family Thanksgiving dinner where everyone's smiling for the camera, but underneath the table, a fierce battle is being waged over the last helping of mashed potatoes. The source of this division? Well, It's a veritable smorgasbord of disagreements. Immigration, healthcare, gun control, civil rights, you name it, they argue about it. It's like the founding fathers sat down and said, let's create a nation founded on freedom of speech, and then make everyone really, really bad at it. And nowhere is this division more apparent than in the political sphere. The two major parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, are locked in a perpetual battle for the soul of the nation. It's like watching a tennis match where the ball is common sense and the players are determined to hit it into the neighbor's yard. This polarization has real-world consequences. It's led to gridlock in government, making it nearly impossible to address pressing issues. It's fueled animosity and distrust among citizens, turning neighbor against neighbor. And it's created a climate of fear and uncertainty, leaving many wondering if the American experiment can truly survive. Now, adding fuel to this already raging fire is the fact that the U.S. is, well, 50 different states, each with its own distinct personality and political leanings. It's like someone took a bunch of different colored crayons, melted them together and called it a masterpiece. Sure, it's colorful, but good luck trying to make sense of it. Some states, like California, are known for their progressive policies and embrace of diversity. Others, like Texas, cling tightly to tradition and individual liberty, often at the expense of, well, everyone else. And then there are the swing states, those fickle beasts that can't seem to make up their minds, leaving the rest of the country holding its breath every election cycle. This state-level variation adds another layer of complexity to an already convoluted political landscape. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle where the pieces keep changing shape. And it often leads to a sense of frustration and disconnect between the federal government and the people it's supposed to represent. So, what's the solution to this great American divide? Well, if I had the answer to that, I wouldn't be stuck behind this desk, now would I? But one thing's for sure. Until Americans can find a way to bridge their differences and engage in respectful dialogue, this nation will continue to be its own worst enemy. Let's talk about U.S. politics, where harmony is as rare as a bagpipe solo by enraged geese. It's a country designed to disagree, with a political spectrum broader than a buffet lover's waistline. One side wants smaller government and lower taxes, the other champions social programs and stricter gun control. Most Americans, just trying to get along. The answer? Not really. The U.S. political system feels like a dysfunctional two-party setup. It's like Survivor, but with filibusters and debt ceiling talks. California and Texas, the Beyoncé and Taylor Swift of states. California is the tech-savvy cool kid. Texas is the rodeo champ with a booming economy. Just kidding. Or are we? Now let's add some spice to this political stew. Hot-button issues make Thanksgiving dinner with family quite the event. Immigration, healthcare, and gun control spark fiery debates. The Second Amendment is a sacred cow for some. Civil rights are as American as apple pie and systemic racism. The fight for equality continues. Buckle up, America. This ride isn't over. If there's one thing the United States excels at, it's cultural diversity. You can find a taco truck on every corner, celebrate Oktoberfest, and witness a Bollywood dance-off in Times Square. It's like the world threw a party, and everyone showed up with their best dishes and dance moves. With over 330 million people, the U.S. is home to people from every corner of the globe. It's a nation built on immigration, where generations have come to seek their fortunes and start new lives. This cultural mix is reflected in everything from the food we eat to the music we listen to. Want authentic Ethiopian food? Head to Washington, D.C., craving Vietnamese pho? Little Saigon in Orange County, California has got you covered. In the mood for Polish pierogies? Chicago's Polish Village is the place to be. But this cultural richness is about more than just cuisine. It's about the exchange of ideas, traditions, and perspectives that make the U.S. vibrant. It's about the constant evolution of what it means to be American, as fluid as the Mississippi River. Over 350 languages are spoken in the U.S., making it a linguistic melting pot. You're just as likely to hear Spanish in Miami as Mandarin in San Francisco's Chinatown. This linguistic diversity is a strength, a testament to the country's ability to embrace different cultures. It's a reminder that the American story is a chorus of voices, each with its own unique perspective. A story written in countless languages, evolving with every new wave of immigrants. So next time you're in New York or Los Angeles, appreciate the incredible tapestry of cultures around you. Listen to the symphony of languages, savor the aromas of different cuisines, and remember that this beautiful mess of cultures and traditions is what makes the United States truly unique. Well folks, there you have it. A whirlwind tour of the United States, a country that's equal parts inspiring and infuriating, confusing and captivating. It's a nation grappling with its past, struggling with its present, and trying to chart a course for a future that seems more uncertain than ever. We've explored its economic might, its political complexities, its cultural tapestry, and its global influence. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. There's so much more to discover, to understand, and to question about this complex and contradictory nation. So if this video has sparked your curiosity, if it's left you wanting to delve deeper into the heart of what makes America tick, then do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Give us a like if you enjoyed the ride, and be sure to leave a comment below with your thoughts, your questions, and your fiery debates about everything we've discussed. Because here at Channel Name, we believe that staying informed is crucial, especially in a world that's changing faster than the price of a gallon of gas. So, buckle up folks, because the adventure continues and we're just getting started.